keep it 1 for 100. My men keep it 1 for 100. My ladies keep it 1 for 100. My peoples keep it 1 for 100.
100.
Welcome to Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Sunday afternoon. Yes, folks, I'm rolling solo. Sometimes you got to go that way. But hey, big shout out to Big E. He's working the OU volleyball or soccer game. You know, he goes to OU, so, you know, his job is, you know, broadcasting and all that. So big shout out to him, man. He's doing big things. He's out there working the boards in the back room. Shot a picture of him this morning. Showed me all the things he's going through. Our little room is nothing compared to what he's doing today. So big shout out to him. He's doing this big thing at OU today. I know he's kind of sad about his Sooners. Jonah got the baby, so guess what? I rode solo. That's okay, because I got my guy. You guys can't see him, but I got my bobblehead friend right here. He keeps me company. My wife just asked me, said, Tony, are you nervous? I said, no, baby, I got to get a little bit of energy. I got to get it going. It's me by myself today. When you're by yourself, you got to bring your own energy, because usually when you got somebody with you, you can find a feed off them. But today I'm by myself. I could have called backup, could have called Coach V, but Coach V said, T, I'll help you anytime, but I'm a basketball man. I know a little bit about football, but hey, you get me on the hardwood between the lines. You get it, folks, between the lines. Catch us every Thursday morning between the lines. But hey, real quick, we got a couple things we're going to go over. Got a special guest today coming from the 918, sitting undefeated, the new head coach for the Owasso Rams, Mr. Antonio Graham. I have him on today. Then I'm going to have my old good friend of mine's, Dell City's head coach. We're going to recap a little bit over OSU was off, but we still going to talk about some things that are going on up there in Stillwater, because, hey, if it ain't fixing Norman, it ain't fixing Stillwater either, folks. They both got a lot of work to do. A lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I had a chance to go to that game, and I said, do you go or do you stay? Do you go or do you stay? And I said, I can't go. You know why I can't go? Because my baby girl turned 14 today. Happy birthday to my baby girl, Zoe Johnson. Zoe Lieva Marie Johnson, to get it correct, Tony Johnson. That's my baby. She turns 14. And, folks, it shed a tear in my eye. And I'm like, why? Because my baby's 14. She growing up. She only like hanging out with me now. She don't. She loves me, but she don't want to hang out with me. I'm old. I can't move. I walk slow. Got bad feet. Got bad toes. All the bad things. She said, Dad, let Mom take me shooting. You know why? Because Mama gonna sit on the phone and probably watch some show, TikTok or something. I'm gonna criticize. But I love my baby though. My baby turned 14. I'm very, very blessed to have her in my life. She's special to me. She's my last one, not my only one. I got 3 beautiful daughters. Got my oldest daughter about to have her first child. Got Shakayla. My granddaughter had her birthday last weekend. And folks, I know I missed last weekend's show, but I was gone. I had a good time. I got a chance to go to watch make sure that's right. I had a chance to go watch Ohio State and Iowa. And Iowa State and Ohio State, man, both good teams. You know, Ohio State played last night against them Ducks and lost. Very bad play at the quarterback at the very end of the game. You know, just I don't know if he just had a brain fart but he just, you know, he slid and I don't know what he's doing. 3 seconds left. They're trying to kick a field goal to tie the game or whatever, and he slides. I don't know if he went back to his old Little League days and thought he was in baseball again, but he slides. So, great college football. We're going to talk a little bit about OU football, what's going on in Norman. You know, is it Hawkins? Is it Arnold, Jackson Arnold? Who is the quarterback? I mean, at this time, if you grade them both out, I mean, granted, yesterday, you know, Hawkins had some turnovers, bad turnovers at one point in the game. They're really, really, really bad. It got to get, you know, better. I feel like it's this backyard football what I was watching. And, I had a friend at the game, and he said he had receivers open, but he wouldn't throw the ball to him. And I don't know why. I don't know if he's scared to pull the trigger and get picked, but I understand he's 18 years old, 19 years old, young man playing at the Cotton Bowl, over 100,000 people in there screaming, Sooners, you suck. Texas, you suck. Everybody suck. But you got to be prepared when you sign these, big-time scholarships. You're going to play in big-time games that you're playing in Tulsa. But you got to be ready for the situation. When the coach calls your number, you got to be ready to go, just kind of like you did in Auburn. And Texas is not Auburn. Texas is probably the number one team in the nation. And they got two great quarterbacks, great running back, defense played. I mean, they're just good team. And Coach Sharkson he didn't pull the brakes back. He said, hey, we're gonna keep it going. They doing halfback passes, double reverses. I mean, everything. I mean, and Coach V, man, I know he got his work cut out right now. And I've been listening to watching the message boards and listening to people call in and say stuff, and then they're asking, like, with Joe Don and Seth, would they coach at a 3A high school team? Would anybody hire him? And the question has to be, probably not. And I can't blame Joe because he's just there by committee. They just gave both of those guys a job. Both great young men. Don't want to ever see nobody lose a job. I don't. But you got to start scratching your head, man. You fourth, fifth, sixth game, you still running boo-boo-to-boo plays. I mean, come on now. Open it up a little bit. Texas open it up, and we can't open it up. I mean, I know we're down to our 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th receiver, but I had a friend say last night, man, you're a big-time university. You should have 12 D1 receivers. It shouldn't fall from 1 to 12. They all should be about equal if they're 5-star, 4-star, 3-star players. So are a lot of these kids we're getting, are they really players? Or are they just make-believe? Because, I had to say XY got in the game late last night. Get that man some touches. These other guys, man, act like they don't want to run. Hey, man, folks, listen to me one time. If you don't ever listen to me, like, quit being scared to play young people. We talk about these guys being 5 stars. Are they really 5 stars? Or mom and daddy making them 5 stars? Really think about it, because I think X could have gave you something. You could have put him at the H-back. You could have put him as a lead block. Kids playing 3 or 4 state championship. Carl Albert kind of knows what they're doing. They coach you up over there. Some of these schools might not coach you up. You might be playing on a decent team, but are you really getting coached up? That's what I want to know, because I thought X, when he came in the game, and it wasn't very many plays, but he did some things, caught a couple ball, and X ain't known for his hand. He's known to run. So put him at the H-back. Get away. I mean, if we're hurting for players, put your best players on the field. I don't think they're doing that all the time. I like at the QB. They kept saying, we had a couple people at the house and like, are they going to put Jackson in? And I don't think they're going to go back with Jackson. I don't know if Jackson's the man, but I don't know if Hawkins the man yet until he quit being scared to throw the ball. You can't be scared to throw the ball, young man. Let it sling. If you throw interception, guess what? You live for the next play. You don't die off one play. You keep going. You fumble, you came back. And he did some good things, but we got to get a little bit more wrinkles. I thought Lamb came in the game and ran the ball pretty decent. But, I don't know if he's ready for that pounding. X is a big guy. Let's see what he can do. Now you're going to take your talents up to – no, I guess you got South Carolina at home. And they'll get team. They should beat Alabama yesterday. Should have beat Alabama. They kick a field goal. You know what? And Alabama, they're okay. They're not as great as they were. Texas is the real deal. Oregon, hey, Gabriel is laughing at you guys right now. Laughing as he's sitting back, smoking his cigar like number 28, our top linebacker that ain't done nothing in 3 weeks. I know we gave him a lot of money to come back, and he donated some of this money to the walk-ons. Great job, young man. I love you for that. But you got to go make plays. I didn't see Lewis make a lot of plays yesterday. I just felt like, I know the defense got tired because they was on the field a lot. We got to score points. We get a chance. We come out, we get a pick right off the bat. Don't score it. Miss the field goal. Come on. You got to when you're playing a team and you're the underdog, only way the underdog's going to win the ball game is by staying in the ball game. Second quarter, we fell apart. Oh, man. We act like we couldn't see. We looked like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder up there, just shaking our heads, and we couldn't see nothing, couldn't catch nothing. I mean, run the same play. I guarantee we ran that quarterback draw at least 100 times. I mean, we got to open it up, you two. You know, and then people ask, hey, are they going to be back? Somebody said, Venables, you knew you was going to SEC. And it seemed like he wasn't prepared for it. That's just like your roommate comes and say, hey, John, yeah, I'm moving out. Okay. But, John, I know you can't afford this place, but he said, yeah, you're right, I can't. But John goes, you go out and buy new furniture. Why would you go buy new furniture knowing your roommate's moving out and you can't afford it? Be smart. You knew you was going to SEC. And guess what? We don't go get the players. I mean, our offensive line, Bimbo, he's supposed to be the best offensive line coach out there, and we got guys running around like they don't have a clue who to block? Come on, man. I know you're beat up, but come on. We have to have the worst line in college football. We have to. And you can't people talked about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is balling. We would get beat by Vanderbilt. I don't even know if we're going to make the playoffs. You look at the schedule. Only game that you really got that's probably winnable is maybe South Carolina next week and maybe Maine. Ole Miss, got to go there. Louisiana Tech, you ain't touching them boys because you know they're going to talk noise about you when you get to the swampland because they're going to be, hey, you Sooner fans, we ain't got no tea, but we going to beat you boys. You know, Sooner home, Sooner bread, whatever y'all want to call it. We ain't going to do that over here at Louisiana Tech. We're over here at LSU. We different. We swamp monsters. So you ain't going to win up there in LSU. Tell you that now. It ain't going to happen, folks. Alabama, depends on which Alabama show up. Alabama play 2 halves. First half, we might win. Second half, they might win. It just depends on which Alabama show up. But they're still Alabama. You know, they're still Alabama. We're lucky we're going to be ranked in the top 25. That's how bad we are. And, yes, we've lost to 2 good teams, Tennessee, and we've lost to Texas. Man, we can't beat a team that starts with a T. Thank God we ain't playing Texas Tech. That's all I got to say. But Sooners, man, we got to get it going, though. I'm telling you right now, we sitting at 4-2. We can easily be sitting at 4-3 next week. Because South Carolina's going to be tough. Their quarterback is good. Running back is really, really, really good. And right now, man, we got guys running on the field, don't know where they're at, don't know the call. We got DBs they can't cover. We got linebackers that don't wrap up. We probably missed 25, 40 tackles that was hit. Guy was hitting, and we still missed him. So that's all I'm going to be on my soapbox about OU. I have Robert talk about OSU. We'll talk about any other college game when Robert comes on. I'm really excited about talking to Coach Antonio, you know, Owasso's coach, man, a young man that, you know, was I think he was a defensive coordinator. Don't know that much about him. Get to learn about him today, all the way from the 918, man, coming on the show. It's pretty cool when you can reach out to a coach, especially if you've been a little podcast, man. I'm not no big dog. I ain't nobody. I'm just a little guy here in a hot box trying to talk a little high school football, a little college ball. But it's fun, though. I missed last week. I did miss, you know, talking high school football last week. But like I said, I got a chance to go to Ohio State, something that's been on my bucket list, you know, to go do. I got to do it with my son, Deshaun. He's a big Ohio State fan, you know. They gave me a hard time because, you know, hey, Ohio State, that's what I tell people, man. OU football is different. We're built different because, man, the way we tailgate and the way we do things is nobody can do it like us. I mean, really, they can't. Nobody can do it like Oklahoma, man. When we tailgate, we go all out, man. We cooking and drinking adult beverages, playing hacky sack or cornhole or whatever we do with that little ball, you know, whatever it's called. I don't play it. I'm not very good at it, so that's why I don't play it. But, you know, we do that when we get tailgates, man. You know, walk down the street when we was at Ohio State, man, and that little frat house going on and, you know, a lot of drinking going on. But it didn't seem like OU, no music, no, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Ohio State expect to win. And, you know, when you play in the Big Ten, you only play one team. Now you got some other dogs in there, Oregon and some of these other teams that's joining. Now you got to go play a little bit. Before, Ohio State's only game they had to worry about was Michigan. Michigan's down and won the national championship. Ohio State, you know, they just got beat last night. Oregon's keep rolling. I mean, Oregon's okay. Gabriel, like I said, he's laughing, sitting back, smoking a cigar, laughing at you guys because you ran him out of town. Now you don't have a quarterback at all. And OU, like I said, I think OU get some help next year when Sperry comes in. You know, he has a chance to compete for the job. The kid's he's a baller. You know, he was at Carl Albert, so, you know, for a year. But, you know, we're going to talk a little bit of high school football, man. High school football in 5A is woo, woo, woo. That means bad. I feel sorry for Coach Mike D, Robert Jones. I mean, your backups, now I got to say their backups getting a lot of playing time. But, man, if a kid was trying to get his stats up and trying to get somebody to look at him, boy, you're in the wrong conference because 5A is bad. After you get past Dale City and Carl Albert, man, if I could juggle, if I had some balls, I would juggle up. It's a juggling act who's going to get in. And then you got those two playing each other in the semifinals game. Who is doing it? Who put this together? Let me talk. Let them come on the show and sit with me and we could talk about it. Because that's some of the So you're telling me these two teams right here on my table, right here, folks, barking at each other, ready to play each other, is going to play each other in the semifinals. That's your state championship game. It's not even going to be held at UCO Stadium, one of the best stadiums, one of the best teams in state right now because they sitting at 6-0, balling out. And our two teams here in Oklahoma, really? University D1? That's why you kids, I'm going D1. You ain't got to go D1. You ain't got to go D1 to get noticed. Terrell Davis, people know who he is right now. Played basketball. Young men, you listen. He played basketball, switched over to football, and balling out. Set records weekly. Young man on that wall right there, was D1 prospect. Went wrestling with D2. Guess what? 2 national championships and an individual national championship, and he got 2 years left. That's what UCO is all about. So when you start looking at school, hey, put that team on your map. Put that team on your map. They're balling. Not saying OU and OSU can't get a turnaround because I like Coach V and I like Gundy. Even though he changed his haircut a lot, I still like Gundy. Tulsa, yeah, I told you a couple weeks ago, use that as your get in there, get you some reps, then get in the portal. I hate to tell kids to get in the portal, but get in the portal. You ain't going to win at Tulsa. You're not. You're not going to go to no bowl game. It's good school, good education. If you're just going to get your education, yeah, you're going to have a good job, making 6 figures. So, hey, look at it that way too. But we got to do something about this high school football. It's bad right now, folks. It really is. But shout out to the Midwest City Bombers. Bombers. Where my Bombers at? Yeah. Where my Bombers at? Hoo-hoo. Where my Bombers at? Yeah. Where my Bombers at? Hoo-hoo. They came out against Bishop McGinnis and took care of business. Wasn't pretty score, 14-11, but guess what? They got the win. I got to give it to them. They got the win. Win, 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 baby. It's what Coach Hall said. Hey, win, win, win. Live another day. Now the Bombers have set themselves up to get the 3rd seed in district. Got a tough game this week coming up. But hey, they get that win. Hey, they're sitting pretty. Look like Newcastle be sitting number 1, or MacArthur be sitting at 1 or 2. But the Bombers have set themselves up good. If they go win out, even if they lose one more, they're gonna be sitting 3. And Bishop McGinnis will have to go travel to Carl Albert. And I know Carl Albert, they love when they get to play the Irish. The luck of the Irish. They ain't got no luck. They ran out last week. The Bombers took the breath out of them. Took it out. But we're going to go over some scores real quick. A recap of Week 5. You had Union knocking off Norman North 56-27. BA, team that won the state championship is struggling still. Get the win over Edmond North 27-17. Bigsby's rolling it up, folks. Rolling it up. I don't know what I can ask a Owasso coach later on. I don't know what you did to piss Bigsby off, but they ready. Hey, rocking and rolling. They get the win over Edmond. They get the win over Edmond North, 85-24. Owasso said, "Hey, Westmore, I know you won a couple games. You got your new stadium open, but slow down. You coming to Ramstown." Beat the brakes off them, 55-0. They stay undefeated, sitting at 6-0. Edmond Memorial, hey, got 1 loss. Only loss they got so far is to Deer Creek. They get another big win. I'm gonna have Justin Meredith on here. Old Bomber, played at Midwest City, coached at Edmond twice. It's funny. He coached there the first time, didn't have as much success. Now he's found a second win, and he gets the win over UConn, 38-0. You got Deer Creek, good game against Moore. Malachi was back. I saw him have a long touchdown. Good to see him back. I know he was knocked out of game, so good to see him back. They're fighting to get in the playoffs too. They're gonna have to knock off somebody. They are. But Deer Creek knocks him off 30-20. Jinxed. Keewan's probably saying nothing but good things this week about this Jinx Trojan because they get the win over Mustang, 43-13. We'll face Deer Creek next week, folks. That'd be a good game. I will make that game. I will make that game. Jonah, we packing up. Pack your sack lunch because Deer Creek is way out there. It's a weird drive. But I'm going to go out there and take a look at one. I get to see Deer Creek, face off against a really good team. So, they'll face off against Jinx next week. So get to see Key One's boy in action. Then go down to small 6A. You got Choctaw over Southmore. Southmore just still Southmore 51-17. Sand Springs over Ponca City 58-0. Muskogee stays undefeated. Man, Birdman, he's kind of like. See, this is what I think. I think you gotta shuffle these districts up because you got Muskogee ain't playing nobody. Choctaw, they had to go out of town to play anybody to beat them here in the state. So you got to shuffle up, man. Maybe put Del City or somebody in 6A small. Or maybe put Carl Arbor 6A small, Del City in 5A, then put Midway City in 4A. Maybe it'll shake some things up. I think Midway City can do some damage. But hey, I'm gonna get to that 4A because I think that 4A is the most toughest bracket out there. Then you go over to you had Muskogee, like I said, Muskogee beat Bartersville 55-0. Then you have Piedmont over U.S. Grant 62-0. Then you have Del City over Hall, homecoming. Got to see some of them young men all dressed up, look good. Get to talk to Coach. I love to see when kids dress up, look good, because you see them in football pads and shorts and T-shirt. But when you see them young men, Q look good, man, had the little red shoes on. Q's one of my favorite guys, little center for Del City, man. I miss doing the Del City Coach Jones show, but folks, as you know, I'm doing the Between the Lines, so that takes a lot of my time, and I do the editing on that show, so me and Coach V got that rocking and rolling, man. It's only going to get better, man. We have some great young ladies on. A young lady from Westmore. Woo, that girl can go. Good-sized young lady, man. Gets trained by her dad, and so, I love it when you get trained by your dad because, you got that daddy and daughter love, but it's also tough love, too. But Del City, like I said, they get the win. McAllister over East Central, 70. You hear these scores, folks. These are high school football teams scoring 70 and 62 points on teams and beating them 0, So, really, truly, what parent wants to go spend, if you take your mom and your husband and one of the kids and one of the kids' friends, you're spending $30-$40 to go watch a blowout. And the game's over. And your baby might only play a half. Now if your baby's back up, you're like, yes, my baby going to play tonight. So you invite everybody to the game because your baby going to get in the game. But I'm just telling you, man, it's a tough gig, though. It really is. So, like I said, McAllister beat up on them 70-28. You got Lawton over East Central. Zoe, he's fighting to get in the playoffs, doing a good thing. He gets to win 55-0. Like I said earlier, where my Bombers at? Yeah. Where my Bombers at? Who? Where my Bombers at? Yeah. Bombers over Bishop McGinnis. Out of folks, I'm going to tell you, after what Midway City's done the last few weeks, against Newcastle, and and getting beat up like that, man, I didn't think the Bombers had it in them, man, but Coach Hall's been around long enough. He said, hey, we got to dig deep. We got to dig deep on this one, and he did, and they get the win over Bishop McGinnis, 14-11. Shawnee, my man, Madonna. I'm going to have me a Shawnee helmet up here. You know why? Because I love the Shawnee Wolves. Oh, I love them Wolves, baby. Second year, man, he's going to make the playoffs this year. Big things he's doing out there in Shawnee. And I'm telling you, he got the new football field, the new basketball court. Man, I ain't saying, hey, you need to pack and go to Shawnee. But, hey, you North Rock Creek, young men, ladies, you looking to go get some good ball in? Go see my man Madonna. Madonna's a bomber. He's a Dale guy. He knows. He's taking what he learned at Midway City under Coach Huff, Hall, Mike Dunn, Robert Jones. He's learned from all these great coaches. Now he's taking his talent down the street out there at Fire Lake Casino. Stop and go get you a slot machine game real quick, and then go catch you a football game with Coach Madonna. They out there balling. He got, what, 1 loss, 2 losses? He's going to get in the playoff. Second-year coach. Last year was tough because you had the tornado go through the tears old school up. So not only is he coming as a new coach, he's coming, hey, I got to prepare all this stuff. But now he gets to sit back and be a coach. And I love it. He's at all the middle school things. He's at all the, you hear what I said? He's at the middle school things, calling you coaches out one-on-one. I can say keep it 100. On my other show, I say keep it real. Keep it 100. He's at the middle school games. Coach Dunn, Coach Jones, these guys are at the middle school game. You know why? Because that's my future. Not Back to the Future. My future. He's at the games. Guthrie, Next game that Colorado's going to have is going to be tough. It's going to be Guthrie. Colorado beats up on Noble. I will give Coach D a little bit of hard time. Ain't scored. I had him not getting scored into the playoffs, Coach D. He owes me a lap. So I'm going to have to run by practice and make sure I get that lap in from him, giving up a touchdown to Noble. But he called it the other night, and I saw him Monday night. He said, T-Man, they run this, all this, you might give up something. It's going to happen. I mean, that team probably happy they scored a touchdown on Carl Albert than anything. So, I mean, they keep rocking and rolling though, man. They're not. Their next toughest game is going to be Guthrie at the Rock. So, anytime you go to that game, they're already down 21-0 because that's how it's going to be when you play at the Rock. Hey, you ain't gonna get all the calls. Chris Evans, I'm keeping it 100, but Guthrie gets the win over El Reno. El Reno just down this year. But a team you got to watch out for is Booker T. Washington. Booker T lost some games early, but they rocking and rolling now. Rocking and rolling. Get the win over Kelly. Beat Kelly 23-0. Going to 4A. I'm going to keep it real with you right here, folks. 100. 4A is the toughest district. It's the toughest district in high school football, and I'm being real. When you got Blanchard, get the win over the Comps 34-7. You got Cushing over Oologah 37-7. You got Tuttle. Tuttle's a real deal. I got to watch him Friday night. Tuttle's a real deal. CJ, whew, can anybody cover him? He runs around like there's nobody there holding him. And that quarterback, before he graduates, he's gonna have 40 different D1. That kid can go. He can go. I don't want to say his name wrong because I think I know his name because I know CJ's talked to me. I know he follows me on Twitter. But young man at Tuttle QB, he can go. He was at sophomore. That's why he left sophomore. He packed his bag and said, guess what, Mom and Dad? We're going to go play at this new stadium that they built here in Tuttle. $1 million stadium. It's beautiful. Even though they played at Bethany last week and took Bethany on their own floor, on their own field, 42-19. And Bethany's good. I got to see Bethany in person. They're good. But not when they face Tuttle. So now you're looking at Tuttle. Hare gets the big win over Chickasha. And with the Hare, I love my Hare Panthers. Still got them up there. They up there somewhere. They on the wall. But man, they're losing kids left and right. They lose their top receiver Palmer, defensive back Palmer. When you lose somebody like that plays both sides of the ball, that can play both sides really, really well, the kid can catch anything you throw him like a BB. I mean, he can catch. Young man got hands. And they lose him for the season, and it sucks, man. When you're a senior and you can't finish your senior year out, I wish there was something they can do for these high school kids, man. Give them a red shirt or something. They're doing it in college, But I love to see that young man, get to finish his high school career out because it's sad, though. He's a great young man, good kid. And, you always, you ask yourself as a parent, what did my baby do to deserve this to get hurt? And we pray every day as parents that, hey, nothing happens to our babies and let them finish their career because, man, that's some of these kids' life is football. That was my life. Luckily I found something else good to do in life. After I got done coaching Little League, that's why I started doing a podcast. I love it. I love that I can talk to different young men and women. And, now doing this whole thing with the women, it's really, really fun. But Hare, Coach Blinker found a way. Like I said, they got a tough game coming up. They got, they need one more district win to secure a spot in the playoffs. They have to either knock off Bethany, Medill, Ardmore, or Tuttle. It's going to be tough. Like I said, they've been getting hit by the injury bug. Lost some guys early in the year. Hopefully they get some guys back. Some of them young guys, Kyle, Day, some of you young guys, Moose, these young men. You got to step your game up, boys. It's time. Hey, you ain't freshmen no more. You ain't sophomores no more. You played 6 games. You halfway through the season. Guess what? You have become boys to men, ABC. That's where you're at. You're going from boys to men. You got to step up and help. Because they got some good things going, You still got a Titus, you got, Titus, Jackson, the young man that can run the ball and play good outside linebacker. They got some tools. But now other guys got to step up. So you got Joey over at quarterback. Kyle's balling over there at QB with the JV squad. He's just a freshman. And I mean, I'm a big Kyle fan, man. I mean, he's a young man that y'all going to say, what somebody told me one time, his mama thinks she put it out, remember that name. I love it, parents. Remember that name. And guess what? She ain't lying. She just keeping it 100. So See what Blink can do, man, these next few weeks to see if he can get the Hara Panthers in the playoffs because I tell you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But can anybody do it? Blink's a guy that, hey, he might look like he's 14, but he coaches hard. And he'll find a way to get those guys in there. They got to just keep getting – they got to get that injury bug away. Throw some holy water on them, something. Grove over Fort Gibson, 42-13. They stay undefeated. Wagner. That's what I said, folks. 4A's tough. 4A's tough. There ain't going to be no easy games in the playoffs. You're going to have to face one of these boys. Wagner, Tuttle, Bethany, Blanchard, Hara, Elgin. Elgin all over Bridge Creek, 44-0. And Elgin was in 5A, and I thought they was like, oh, man, they're done. Boy, they taking over 4A like they own 4A for a while. So then you go off to 3A. You got Heritage Hall over Kingfisher, 46-23. Lincoln Christian over Lost Grove, 63-20. North Rock Creek over Pauls Valley. And Pauls Valley got to create a little running back, man. And they just beat up on him, It was a good game, though. It's 41-34. And then, and they got a good running back over at North Rock Creek, man. Hawkins boy, Adam's son signed with North Texas. So, that's a good game. I love that. But, folks, I got to give some shout-out to my man. Coach Cole was over at he took his what he learned on the Coach Montgomery at Bigsby and it's taken over to Bristow. When's the last time we talked about Bristow? Bristow. Head Coach Cole taking care of business, folks. Sitting at 4-2. Just got a big win over Mainford, 49-6. This guy was the defensive back coach at Bigsby last year. Wife's the head cheerleading coach. He said, baby, guess what? Instead of you cheering for another head coach over here at Bristow, I'm going to bring my talents to Bristow. What I've learned on the Coach Montgomery and get this going over here. And guess what? He got it going in 3A. Bristow, like I said, big things. I love it. Congratulations, Coach Cole. Like I said, he got his own podcast, been on his show with him. So congratulations to him and his team and the success they're having. So love to see him get in the playoffs and go take care of some business because, when you learn, this thing is, when you get and I said it earlier, when you have a great leader that you can follow, that like a lot of these guys on this table, Mike, Robert, being under Coach Rose, being under, Corley, and then both these guys coaching in Texas, so seeing some of the best. Now they come back to home and they're doing great, successful things. It sucks that they both got to play each other once again in the semifinals. Don't know who did that. You remember back in the day when they used to have the coaches, these old nerdy guys sit in a room and pick who went to the BCS, conference and who was number one, who was number two. Half of those guys, they never played football. They played in the band. Not taking that from the band people because you got to have them on Friday nights and Saturdays, playing the music, getting you hyped up. But guys that never did nothing was on the chess team or checker team, and so you got them picking who should be in the BCS championship. Now, that's how I feel like what they're doing with these high school teams. Like, oh, we're going to throw them in the box. And, we're going to let Carl Arbor and Del City play each other in the semifinals because we don't want to play them in the state championship because we don't want to see that because we don't want two mid-Del teams. Well, Andy, Carl, you got to fight for it. No sense. These two teams should be playing in the semifinals. No sense. Two of the best teams in 5A football, and they're playing in the semifinal. Why? Why? Ask the question why. Everybody asks that question. Man. That makes me mad. Two of the best teams in the state of Oklahoma. Everybody saw the game last year. That place was packed at UCO that Saturday. Packed. Great weather. Man, two of the best teams in Mid-Del played in the state championship last year, and it was a good game. Had every OU coach out there. That's when DeMarco came out in his sunglasses. Tell me I'm too cool. But DeMarco could get together out there. So that's where we at. Washington. 2A, Washington over Little Axe, 49-7. They got a tough game coming up this week, man. They will. Marlowe is a team that lost early in the year, but they found it. They get the win over Crossing, 31-0. Been on a five-game winning streak. They'll play against Washington this week. That'll probably be for the district championship. So, you got a couple teams in that 3A. In that 2A that can battle. But a team that you got to watch out for. I had him on the show a few weeks ago. CJ from Millwood is balling out. And I said it before I got to have the guy on the show. This kid is balling, and he balling. Knocked off Jones last week. Didn't get to talk about that game because I was gone. Knocked off Jones. Beat them bad, folks. Beat them bad. 43 to 13. And I'm thinking Jones going to do some business. Some of them young men I've coached. And you went down there and you put up a goose egg. You didn't want to play. Can't be scared. You got to, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ. And I know Millwood ain't the champ because Washington's still the champ, but I'm telling you right now, Washington, you're going to get knocked off this year because, it's Millwood's time to shine. Not just in basketball, but they're going to get one in football this year. You heard it first on Keep It 100. Look at it, folks. Keep it 100. Millwood's going to get it. CJ is balling. Not only is the guy's a great football player, but he's a hell of an athlete student. Getting it done in the classroom. You can't just get it done on the football field. You got to get it done in the classroom, and that's what he's doing. He's getting it done in the classroom. Because you know why? Because Mama ain't going to Liz ain't going to put up with that. Tell him, Liz, she is not going to put up with that. Academic comes first, football comes second. Remember that. But moving on. Hugo over at Omogi, 45-6. Jones, they got beat up by Millwood and came and said, we're going to beat up on you, Cricket Oak. We don't care about Cricket Oak, Jones. We want you to beat the big boy. The big boys is who? Marlowe. What's that with school? OC? OCS? OCS? You got to beat them too. Millwood just knocked Jones. They knocked Jones off, then turned around and beat OCS, and they was undefeated. And Millwood beat them bad, beat them 41-7. After the big win against Jones. Came back and said, you know what? We ain't gonna overlook OCS. We're gonna knock you off, Jones. Then we're gonna hit OCS with the right. Hit Jones with the left. Came back with the right. Knocked two teams off in 2 weeks. That's football, folks. That's why I said Millwood is their year. Washington, they still good. You can't take that from Washington. Can't take that. But Marlowe said, hey, wait a minute, TJ. You just talking. You ain't seen us play. We got game too. I do think Marlowe got game. They came down, they got game. Came down from 3A to 2A, they got game. But I think it's Millwood's year. Metro Christian gets the win over. They get the win, so good job to them. Like I said, Jones get the win over Cricket Oak, and right now they still got to play OCS, and whoever gets that game is going to be the number 2 seed in district. So we'll get a chance to see that. But that's the recap of Week 5. We're going to bring on Coach Antonio Graham, Coach Antonio from Owasso. Get a chance to talk to him about his team, the success they're having, some of his players, who to watch out for. They're doing big things at Owasso, man. He's already knocked off everybody big up there in Tulsa area, 918. He's going to come on this side of town, on this side of 405, and play some teams, and he's going to try to keep it rocking and rolling. It's hard because he's going to have to go through some of these teams again to get to the state championship. And my motto is hard to beat a team twice. But, hey, when you got a coach that's got his finger on you and you got things turned around, hey, anything can happen. But, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after one of our sponsors, Keeping It 100, Oklahoma High School Sports. We'll be right back.
The gang's the same, but we changed the name, and we're now Chaos Customs OKC. Still your one-stop shop for all your vehicle upfitting and accessory needs. With almost 30 years in the business, we're your go-to for lift kits, wheels, tires, spray liners, bed covers, leather, fleet solutions, and so much more. Give us a call today at 405-778-8878.
Welcome back to Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Sunday afternoon. I am privileged and special to have 918 head coach Antonio Graham of Owasso. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me, brother.
Man, thanks for you for coming on the show, man. Being out here on the 405, man, we get to talk to a little bit of the 918 coaches, but Graham, it's funny. I'm really good friends with head coach Robert Jones. I know he's a Dell City head football coach, and a couple weeks ago we just started talking about you, and I just told him, man, I'm so inspired about what you're doing with 6A football, and I know sometimes I don't like to put race in nothing because my kids are biracial, and sometimes I love to see African American coaches get the chance, and Robert's done a great job where he's at Dell City, but man. I told him I had to kick him to the side for a minute and say, Coach Jones, I gotta go meet Coach Graham because he's doing big things in Owasso. Owasso's a big time program, but what you're doing over there is big time, man. And sometimes you know, you don't get all the flowers you should deserve. And I said, man, I want to have him on my show because, you know, not only do we get to talk to high school football, you know, players and young men and women, but sometimes it's also good to talk to the high school coaches that make it happen for these young men. So, Coach, if you can, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you, brother. And Coach at Dale City, he's doing an awesome job, and he's one of the guys that I look up to, man, because he's been doing it for a long time. So very honored that he said those cool things about me, man. So hats off to Coach. But first thing, man, I'm not from here. I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, man.
Okay.
Moved up, yes, sir. Moved up. I'm a country boy. You know, that Southern Baptist.
Hey, I'm from Columbus, Mississippi.
Old school. Yeah, that old school. You know, like, you know, if you yes sir, no sir is the only thing that come out of my mouth. And so, but make a long story short, you know, I'm the oldest of 6, man, and my mom kind of had a rough time there, and kind of got put in the system. And my dad was living here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and so moved up here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Started middle school here. Things going great, man. And make a long story short, he got me enrolled into Tulsa Union, and that's where my whole life kind of got started, brother. And so so as I was going to Tulsa Union, Union High School, my dad ended up getting murdered 2 days before Christmas, delivering Christmas presents to his fiance or whatever. And so, make a long story short, I just kind of took matters in my own hands, man. I was just like, I'm not going back to Alabama and get back in that messed up situation I was in, because I was in the system down there. That's how I ended up here with my pops. And so it took a high school coach, Coach Blankenship, other coaches kind of, you know, I did it on my own for a little bit. They kind of found out that I was kind of, you know, doing a lot of things on my own, because I didn't want to say anything, because if you say something, they're going to go put you right back in the system. So I was like, man, I know how much time I got. I'm going to take care of this. And so, make a long story short, man, I didn't do it on my own. It took a high school coach, some counselors, and they all just wrapped their arms around me, man, and just helped me guide myself. Ended up going to Pittsburgh State and got a degree from there. And the only thing I wanted to do is make sure I get into coaching. And so got into coaching, I wanted to go back to Tulsa Union to start off my coaching career. Got an opportunity to go there, was a part of a couple of state championships there. And Coach Blankenship gives me a call while he's at the University of Tulsa. And he tricked me. And I kind of give you a deal with that. And I was like, yeah, Coach, man, I'm coming. I'm going to come coach with you. I'm going to come coach at the highest level of college football. Well, I get there, bro. He was like, well, I lied to you, man. You got to be a GA. And I'm like, what the heck is a GA? Well, you got to go to school. Well, man, I wasn't a school kind of guy, you know, to be honest with you. And that Tulsa, bro, you got to go to class.
Yes, sir. You got
to. Yeah. They don't care nothing about no freaking
football.
No football, no
academics.
Nothing. No, sir. Heck yeah. And so, man, I ended up getting there, and Coach Blankenship told me something, man. He gave me a lot of game that I'm willing to give forward to a lot of people. He said, Antonio, a black man with a master's degree is very powerful.
Yes, sir.
And I looked at him. I ain't understand nothing he said then. Because I'm like, man, you tricked me. I just gave up a lot of money to come be a freaking grad assistant. I really want to swing on you right now, to be honest with you, man. Because I gave up a lot of money to come be poor, you know. And so anyways, I ended up getting my master's from the University of Tulsa, man, and you know, and then we ended up getting let go. And so he calls me one day and he said, man, I just took the Owasso job. And I'm one of those dudes, I'm at Union, just won a state championship. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Coach B, man, you sure you want that job, man? We just smacked them boys, you know? and so, man, I just gave out on the will of faith, man, took it. And, you know, he ended up retiring and stuff like that, brother. And that he blessed me. He stood on the table for me, man. And very, very grateful that he stood on the table for me. So I'm able to have this opportunity. So in a nutshell, that's the kind of little story right there, brother.
Well, Coach Graham, man, you know, sometimes, you know, we get those opportunities, man. And it's funny that you say that because, you know, people think that, hey, you know, you had an easy life. And, you know, I'll make a short story, the same thing. You know, I got done playing college ball, played a little small ball up in Bethel, came back, man, I became a custodian. And
Yes, sir.
I didn't want to get in the streets and sell dope and become in the gang and all that. So I got, and it's funny, that's how me and Coach Mike Dunn, his dad, Harry kind of took me under his wing. And I wasn't coaching, man. I started coaching, little league football, and I helped over at Delcrest, and and he, kind of put me in coaching. So then I started coaching my little brothers, and I started coaching. My boys got old enough. I started coaching them, and played against Dion, and with the Truth. And I had the little Bombers. We the little Bombers at the time. I thought all my kids were gonna be Bombers. Adrian Taylor over at for the Cardinals, man, was my tailback. Jaden Poole was one of my halfbacks. My son Gabe Johnson, played corner. My other son played line. I mean, we had a good team. But
Yes, sir.
so when I got done, coaching, and I started getting in this podcast, and I want to start telling kids, because sometimes they just think that, hey, Robert Jones, we talked about this morning, man. 6:30 this morning, we on the phone talking. Sometimes people think we just fall in these spots and we're successful. No, man, we had to crawl before we walk, and I tell my kids that
sometimes we still crawling.
That's it. And for you to have a master's, man, that's important, because my son runs up at UCO, and he's working on, he's a national champion. He won his first national championship, and I was bitter when he got done playing high school ball, because I thought Cha did him wrong, and I was bitter. And you got to get, you heal with time. And I was like, man, but you know what, God had a plan for my kid, and sometimes as parents we don't see it. We just think, oh man, my kid is D1. Nah, man, don't matter where your kid go to school, as long as he can get that education is the most important thing, because football, basketball, tennis, golf, it only lasts for so long, coach. And you are a testament what God is preaching each day. And I know it's on Sunday we preaching this, but man, it's great what you say, because man, when I was gonna make this phone call to get you on the show, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you was gonna big league me. I was, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I was like, man, sometimes you get these coaches, they too good to talk to you. I ain't no big time podcast. I'm a guy out of Oklahoma City doing it in his basement. That's what I'm doing. But I get to let kids know what's going on, and people hear this. It's going. I'm telling you, man. I'm almost teared up right here, because man, I know what you went through. Not every penny of it, but losing a family member, not having the food, and you didn't want to get back in the system. Sometimes everybody think, oh, he's a head coach of Owasso, he's undefeated, his life has been great. No, you had to go through some times, with your brothers and sisters. So, man, that's a great. I mean, I'm telling you right now, kids need to hear this, because everybody think life is easy. No, you got to work for it, man. You really do.
It ain't been easy now. One time, brother, like I didn't have nobody to come watch me play when I was in high school or college, man. And, I'm down there. You get me fired up now, bro. And so, like still today, bro. Like my kids are biracial, man. It's embarrassing for me that like I can't go back home and all my partners and everybody, they all locked up, and people in crappy situations and stuff like that, man. So it's not only a lot of weight on my shoulders to continue to lead, man, but like I got nieces and nephews and stuff that's counting on me, man, and things like that. And so, the pressure, people always like, are you pressured up? Hell no, I ain't pressured up, man. Nah. I've been on pressure my whole damn. It's like, well, are you pressured to follow Coach Blankenship and yada yada yada? I'm like, hell no, man. Pressure is trying to figure out your day next meal, and
that's it.
And growing up, and like this football is an outlet for me,
this
man.
Is nothing, man.
This is easy money, and you don't show no emotions and yada yada yada. I said, because I'm about business. I gotta be about. I said, I'll get one shot at this. I'm not Bill Blankenship. I get all that. I said, I get one shot at this, so I gotta make sure I seize this opportunity, man. And so, because my job is to open up doors for the next one.
That's it.
And I mean that, man. And so, it's just, I'm on a mission right now, brother. And we get off. Now you get me going. But anyways, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. But the day my grandma would come from heaven and whoop my ass, excuse my language, if I ever big time somebody, because you ain't never too big for nobody. You better not ever forget where you come from.
That's it, man. That's real talk, man.
So,
I teach that to my kids all the time, man. I've been blessed. I got 5 beautiful kids, 2 grandbabies. I got 1 on the way. I got a 5-year-old granddaughter, man. And I tell you, life is beautiful because we're not gonna be here long. So while we're here, we got to preach the testimony of what's going on, man. And I feel all my kids went in different directions, but they're all successful so far in life. And so I got a young one. She turned 14 today. She hooped. She's on she's on a traveling AAU squad. She's over at Carl Albert Middle School right now. They're trying to seek to try to stay undefeated. But I know them Lady Bombers over there got something for them over there. It's gonna be when we play them this year. Hey, it's a battle when we go get them Lady Bombers though. But a lot of them on the same AAU team. But Coach, what I really got to say, man, what you're doing is really successful because like you said, everybody talk about Owasso, and then when this season started off and we was kind of picking the teams, no one had you're a new head coach, no one really knew a lot about you. I didn't know you was at you played at Union and all this, but then you get out here, then you beat Bigsby. Oh my God, what happened? Did Bigsby have some kids sick? Then you beat Jinx, then you beat Union. You're like, holy cow, this team is for real. And like I said, sometimes when your story is easy when you're coaching football because this is nothing with what you had compared to life. So y'all are stressing about us beating Union or beating Jinx or beating beating any of these teams. Man, nah, baby. You don't know what I've been through. This ain't nothing. Exactly. This is, Friday night is my getaway, so let's go. So I understand, man. I really understand, though. But, Coach, like I said, tell me about some of your players, though, because it seemed like you guys are having a successful year. I know they start with your offensive line. Everybody talk about that old line you got. I don't know if you got some big-time players, but I know right now I got a chance to watch you guys play the other night against Westmore. Coach White is a real good friend of mine. He's trying to turn things around. He's trying to turn things around there, but he's kind of like Zoe was, man. He's in the gauntlet. It's a tough. Zoe was a tough coach. Did good things at Westmore, but man, it's hard to win in some of these programs. And what you did so far is like got a lot of people turn their heads around, man. I mean, Owasso's the real deal. So tell me about some of your team.
Man, you ain't nothing without good football players, but these guys been in the program. Starting off with my whole line, that's kind of my veteran group. Got a kid named Blake Cherry. Right now he's committed to Arkansas, and he's basically our leader of the football team. And he does a great job, brother, just leading and being a voice. And I'm kind of pushing him to be that voice too.
Yes, sir.
And then the other left tackle is Rocky Hive. He's committed to OSU. He's the quiet, he leads by the way that he leads by how hard he works and things like that. But he's more of a quiet, kind of kid. And I got my two guards. I got a guard named Blake Novotny. He's 6'4". These are all Owasso kids, man. He's 6'4", and he's kind of quiet, but he's a dog. He leads by example. And my center, God bless his heart, his name is Ethan Sumner. His dad played at Ohio State with Eddie George, was right tackle, and my boy is barely 6 foot. So, but he is probably the meanest son of a gun on that O-line, to be honest with you, man. And so that's kind of our little veteran group. And I got another right guard named Brooks Barron. He's not an Owasso kid. He moved in, and he's doing a great job, came in and won the job. And so we rotate about 7 kids on the O-line. We got a good rotation where we kind of go into some heavy sets and things like that. My skill guys is special because those guys are all juniors. I don't have not one single, except one kiddo. He's a 4-year starter. His name is Drew Hogan. No, he's a 3-year starter. Excuse me. He's a 3-year starter. He's Drew Hogan. But other than that, all my skill guys are they still juniors right now. I got three amazing running backs who can go anywhere else in the state and start. And so, and all those guys are juniors. And what they're doing is, man, I challenged them this summer. These 6A programs, you got over 100 kids on your rosters, man, and they don't even know each other's names barely. It's not like how it used to be. So we be in the middle of a workout, man, and I blow the whistle, and I'm like, hey, what's that kid's name over there? But if you don't know that kid's name, we up down it. So the biggest thing is I try to grow a bond, and each week, man, you just seeing that bond getting better and better and better. And so that's the biggest thing. That's on the offensive side. Defensive side, the same thing up front. We're pretty. That's kind of our key focal point up there. I believe if you can win it between the trenches, man, that's where it's all started. And so up front, we got a kid named Reese Satterwhite. He's kind of that dog up front, plays defensive end for us. We got a young nose guard that's kind of getting highly recruited by everybody in the country. But he's humble. You know, I'd knock him back down if he ever get the big head. His name is Taj Overton. And all the Owasso kids, man. Another defensive end named Colson Allen. He's about 6'4", been here at Owasso his whole life. And my linebackers are, you know, really good football players, fast, smart. You got to be a student of the game. And so in secondary, they're all young, man. Except one kid, Jalen Mall. He's our boundary corner. He's about 5'8", but I'll ride with him in the alley with him. So so far so good, man. The biggest thing with me, I'm just telling them keep their head down, don't listen to all the rat poison, because you know a couple of years ago they didn't know them. You know they get hot, they all that whole Mike Jones deal, and so just kind of like, man, the only thing that matters is these dudes in the locker room, your parents, and people in the community, and just don't fall into the trap, man. Don't stay off social media and just be thankful to God. And I'm telling him, like the other day I told him, I said, you never know how long you're going to be good for, so why not seize the opportunity?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So right now, we cannot afford to screw this up. We got something special going on right now. Why would you risk to go out and do something stupid on a weekend and put yourself in a predicament to not play on Friday night? You know, and so right now, it's just that's the hardest part when you're successful as a coach. You know, you really get to see the true character of Owasso right now. You know, I think this week we got Memorial Day, some dogs. But, you know, after that, you know, we're kind of playing some lesser teams. And you're really going to see the character of my football team and, you know, how you handle those lesser teams. Are you getting better from, because nobody ain't going to remember what I did, you know, week 0 against Bisbee. They're going to remember how I finished.
No.
And so, and I know that. And that's what they're going to hold against me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not stupid. And, you know, they go, well, oh, yeah, he was all good week 0. But when he got to the playoffs, that lack of inexperience kind of caught up to him. Nah, brother, I'm just putting my head down and keep working. So if I lose a game, bro, I gave it all I got, and I'm going to walk off the field with my head up high. And that's the bottom line, brother.
So when you decided to take the job, was it a tough decision for you? Because like you said, everyone talks about Blankenship. You know, you got Blankenship as coach here and coach there. You got one in Mustang. You know, the brothers, cousins, whatever they are. But you know, when you took the job, because before you took the job, you was a defensive coordinator, right, at Owasso?
Yes, sir.
So you was already in the program, you know, and I know you know, like Robert, he's most at a dominant black school, Del City, but yourself, Owasso is probably, you know, mixed. So, you know, so I mean,
I was a second black teacher here at Owasso.
There you go. So
yeah,
there you go.
Second black coach.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
there's never been in the Big 5 in here in Tulsa. There's never been a black defensive coordinator ever.
Man. And that's what I'm talking about, you know, not saying, because I don't like to use, like I said, I have biracial kids, so I don't like to use race.
And here's me either. Yeah. Here's what's crazy. Coach Blankenship brought that to my attention, not myself.
No, that's cool, and that's why I'm asking, because, you know, because, you know, me and Robert was talking, and you know, and I said, man, it's cool that you, because if you look at it, you see a black coach at Booker T, because, you know, most people think that's a black school, but you haven't seen one at a Bigsby, you haven't seen one at a Jinx, you haven't seen one at a Union, you know what I'm saying? So you start questioning yourself, you know, I mean, yeah, the black schools are going to have black coaches, but, you know, it shouldn't matter what school you coach at or what color you are. If you can coach, you can coach. That's just like a white coach going to all black school. If he can coach, let him coach.
Absolutely.
So I just think that I think you broke the barrier. I mean, up there in the 6A, that hey, look what you're doing. Because one of the things I think, like you said, you keep your finger on them. If you get your finger on a young man and a young woman and they know that you watch them and they're going to try to do everything right, they're going to try to go down the good path. If you let your finger off a little bit, that's like any kid. If we all have done it. When mom and dad went out of town, we threw a party. Hey, maybe we're going to try to clean everything up when mama got home or daddy got home, but we're going to test the boundaries a little bit. But I think if you keep your finger on them, they're going to do the right things. If you don't keep your finger on them, they're going to curve off a little bit. So I think that's what you're doing, because I think you brought a lot of discipline. Not saying Blankenship didn't, but I think these kids know, hey, what you just said it reminds me some Remember the Titans when you said, hey, you better know that young man's name, because at the end of the day, it takes every 100 kid to win the ball game. No matter if Joe Blow,
You never know
99,
who gonna cut on, bro.
don't matter if he's
gonna have to cut on, bro.
if he's not good or not, he's still part of this team, cheering you on, helping you with your pads, helping you get water or something. It's a team effort. It doesn't matter if Joe Blow number 1 is good and Joe Blow number 100 ain't no good. It's all one team, one dream. And I like that what you're doing, because you're bringing kids together that might not even know each other. It don't matter how good you are, he's still your teammate.
And these days, man, these kids, I asked these kids, man, who watch Hard Knocks? Not one kid raised their hands. They don't watch football like they used to. They watch highlights.
Yeah.
And so, like, we're working on kids' IQ more than anything. And what's unique about the whole discipline deal is that the last 6 years, I tell Coach Blink this, he know it, but when Coach Blankenship coached me when I was in high school, I graduated in 05, 04, 05, and he was like, no earrings, no hats, no jewelry. He was old school, keep your pants up. Well, when he got to Owasso, Coach Blankenship got soft. And I'm like, man, take your earrings off. He's like, man, I don't fight those battles. And I'm like, and I looked at him. I was like, man, you tripping, bro. Like, when did you decide? Because we was apart for 2 years. Yeah. When Coach Blankenship left Tulsa, he went to Memphis, and he got a whole different outlook on a lot of things, But my theory is, man, at this high school level, I went straight back to old school. We don't wear jewelry. We don't wear no hats in my building. And I'm all about swag. You see me out on the weekends, man, I'm going to have my watches on. I'm going to have my chain. I'm from the South, man. I used to have nothing but gold teeth in my mouth or whatever. So I had to get all them pulled out, man. So Coach Blankenship was like, hey, man, you can't be a head coach with gold in your mouth, so you better get those out.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir. Put me on game, but that's a whole nother story.
Love it, man.
So anyways, but, man, you come in my building, your earrings better be out. We don't wear no jewelry. We have uniform violation. You're not going to see one kid on my team with white socks and a black sock on, because I'm on uniform violation. We all is one, man. We're not better than one. And so Coach Blankenship, man, he just kind of got soft. And so I feel like, man, we got something with these kids. They all want to go to the second level. They all want to be, get the NIL and things like that. So if you don't do those things, man, you're not going to be able to play for me. And so, at one point in time, I thought that I was just pushing it too much, but I was like, nah, screw that, man. Because these young men these days, man, we got to get better as young men, and we just got to get better. And so I'm gonna stand on that.
And that's the way it should be. I'm a truly believer. I think everybody should have the same socks on, same shoes on if they can afford it. If not, hey, let's get a team.
Yeah, no doubt. We're gonna find a way.
Yeah, that's it. Because I feel the same way. And I coach my little league teams, man. My practice was like high school and college practice, man. We went at it. There was no playing around here. We had to get busy. If you didn't want to get here, this ain't the team for you. And that's just the way I am now. My kids, they laugh at me today because I was hard on my two boys, man. I rode them like bikes. But with Zoe, it's a little bit different because she's my girl, she's my baby. But I'm still tough on her. There's days that she don't want to ride in the car and meet you with her mama, because mama gonna be, it's okay. But no, with me, it's like, hey, man, but I learned as a father, when they get in the car, we don't talk about it no more. It's over. We left it on the court. We left it on the track field or softball field. We get in the car. We back to being my daughter. I'm not gonna be that mean dad, because a lot of times kids need sports, man. And I think that's one way me and you we found our way, because, man, the path that you're not saying my path is as bad as yours, but the path that we took it because we had somebody that held us, man. And I give a guy a shout out all the time. I tell people all the time, Dennis Huggins was my coach, my secondary coach at Miller City, and he rolled me. He was on me. He always talked to me. I didn't start. I felt like I should have started as a sophomore. I felt I should have started as a junior. I played a lot, but I didn't start. This one, this one, the Bombers was good with Gundy and Drew and all that. And in my senior year, I started, so I was a leader. I was one of the guys. But he'd always tell me, man, it's funny that you said that. You would coach him and Coach Evans, be like, Tony, don't go down and do nothing stupid on Saturday night or Sunday, then you can't play. You know what? And it's so funny.
You played with one of my old coaches, Joey Witcher.
Yeah.
Yep, he coached me in high school.
Yeah, yep. So it's one of those things, man. Is that when you hear that, and these guys, I know Robert does a good job, and Mike and Hall and all these guys up here do a good job, but I don't think they're doing it to your standard. Like, hey, no earrings, because I love that, man, because it's teaching them because now I think these kids are so think about the swag. I ran into a young man the other day at the JV game, and I was like, man, what school you gonna go? I'm going to K-State. No, you're not, dude. K-State, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to tell the kid that, but dude, I follow recruiting, and these kids are so stuck on where they're gonna go, man. Don't matter, like you said, you play D2, I play NAI. It doesn't matter as long as you get your education. Man. No one cares about you no more. No one cares if you played at OU in 1965. They don't care if you played at Pitt State. They don't care if I played at Bethel. They care as long as I got my education, I got some college, I got myself together. I'm not in the streets gangbanging. I'm not out there selling dope. I'm not out there having prostitutes. Hey, that's what it's all about, man. And people got to realize that these kids are so worried about what am I gonna get. We didn't have no NIL. We didn't have none of that. No. We got lucky. We got lucky. We got a pair of free gloves. You know.
That's right. That's right. They only care, man. They only care about your story unless you make it successful, bro. Unless you make it to the NFL, they only care about it. They don't care anything else. So at the end of the day, man, they just gotta take what they can get. And so one thing that I don't do, man, if a kid walks on the football field with earrings on, I ain't gonna check them then. Because if I yell at that kid before the game start, his head is thinking, so I'm going to let him make it. And then that Sunday, when we get in our team meetings or whatever, oh, yeah, he going to get it then. So, I'm kind of, at least, cognitive about when I do get on the kid and things like that because I don't want to mess up they swagger. I always want these kids to play well, man. And so, anyways.
Coach, man, I know you got things to do. It's your Sunday afternoon, man. I appreciate you coming
yes,
on.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to catch that. You guys play at Edmond Memorial, right?
Yes, sir. We sure do, man.
I will be at that game.
Big game.
I'll be at that game, man. I'll come over and introduce myself, man. Hope we can get a picture, man.
Please
but I tell
do, brother.
This is my whole deal, man. I don't want this to be a one-time conversation, man. I might call you.
Not at all,
because this is it. Man, guys like you are going to set the barriers for other coaches, man, in this world because a lot of these guys, man, I ask myself all the time, and I said, you see a lot of black athletes that are the running backs and they're the receiving coach, they're the DB coach, but we're not coaching those positions, and I'm thinking, I'm like, how are we so good in college or the pros, but then you see it, and like I said, I'm not trying to make this anything like that, but you see this all the time that we don't get that chance to coach because what you're doing at Owasso has opened a lot of doors, man. I'm serious, man, and you don't see a lot of. I'll be honest with you, man. You don't see a lot of African American coaches on a lot of these staffs, man. You really don't. And I scratch my head all the time.
Man, we're about 50-50 here at Owasso.
But I saw that the other night. But that's good though, and I think that's where it should be. Yeah. I tell Robert all the time. Sir. You were at Dell City, man. Go get you some white coaches. Go get some white coaches. I told him a few years, I said, go get you a white quarterback, man. Not saying, hey, black quarterbacks are bad, but I said, I'm just saying, you start getting white quarterbacks to come in, you're going to get some white linemen to come in with them. And I'm just being real, though, man. But I just think, man, what you doing, you keep doing what you're doing, Coach. Good luck to you the rest of the season. Keep preaching, man, because I'm telling you, there's somebody that needs to hear this story because they don't know what life is, and they might think, hey, I'm going to give up. No, don't give up, young man or woman. Keep doing what you're doing, okay, Coach?
I appreciate you, man. God bless you, brother, and looking forward to meet you, man.
All right, I'll see you next Friday, this Friday night. Okay, Coach?
Yes, sir. You take care, brother.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Well, folks, that's the head coach of Owasso, man, Antonio Graham, and you heard his story, man, first here on Keep It 100, man. You talk about a young man that had a tough life, but he's finding a way to make everybody around him better, and that's what it's all about being a coach. A coach is not just a coach. A coach is a father figure. As you can see what he said about Blankenship. Blankenship helped him in many, many different ways, as a coach, as a father figure, and got him the things that he didn't have to go back and do the things that he saw in the streets and stuff. And if you never walked those shoes, you don't know those shoes. But there's a lot of young men and women out here that have mom and dads and not living the correct life. But he's preaching a testimony that's going to help somebody in this world one day, not just on the football field, but just in real life. Sometimes we get caught up in football, but sometimes we don't know what's going on in the real life with a young man or young woman. That's why we got so much stuff going on. Kids shooting kids gang banging, kids in drugs and all this stuff, kids overdosing, kids, threatening high schools and stuff like that. It's like he said, you taking player number 1 to player number 99 and they get to know each other's name, that goes big. That's big time. That's really, really big time because people just don't know what somebody might be going through in life. So, man, I'm looking forward to having him on the show again. Not just having him on the show again, just to meet him, man. Just to meet a man and shake his hand, because I'm telling you right now, he's went through a lot of stuff, and he's younger than me. But you know what? He got his stuff together. He got some master's degrees, and everybody in his world don't walk around with a master's degree. But folks, we're gonna take another quick break. Not only did I got him, Coach Antonio from Owasso, but I also got Coach Jones from Del City. We're going to recap a little bit of OSU football and talk about this week's big games, and then we'll be done with the show. So I'll be right back after one of our sponsors. Keeping it 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Sunday afternoon, folks. As you can see, I'm fired up, man. He got me want to go hit somebody. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Be right back.
Tired of going out to your trash can, having to smell so bad? Well, no further. Call Spiffy Cans. He cleans, disinfects, sanitizes. 405-423-8824 or go to spiffycansok.com. Spiffy Cans, he's your man.
Spiffy Can, he's your man.
Welcome back to Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports on this Sunday afternoon. We're going to keep it rolling. But I got my man, DC head coach Robert Jones. Also, catch him every Saturday morning when OSU got a game. And he'll tell you about the game, tell you what's going good and what's going bad, because he keeps it 100. What's up, Coach Jones?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Man, I can't complain, you know. I know you got a chance to go to your first OU Texas game. You know, I know you played both teams back in your young days when you played, but you got to see it live at the Cotton Bowl, which is a pretty cool experience if you've never done it, folks. I mean, you need to go check it out. But Coach Jones,
man, it's amazing.
What'd you think about it?
Man, it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. I know everybody wanted to see the young quarterback Hawkins get in for OU, and he's gonna be a great player. But I was always nervous for them putting him in, just because, man, the offensive line is struggling, and when you put a young quarterback behind the offensive line like that, you're really putting him in a predicament that he can't be successful. I don't care if you would have had John Elway, T, behind that offensive line that I saw yesterday. It would have been tough. So he was running for his life, and I think OU's going to be okay. They're always going to get athletes. They're always going to rebound. But I think the rest of this year, the fans are going to have to be patient and understand that it's just one of those deals that they're going through a string of not having a good offensive line that they're used to and accustomed to having. So it was a great experience, man, to see all those fans and see how passionate they are. I just hate it for Oklahoma that they had to see Texas kind of get after them like that. And especially, I seen a video that some Texas player planted a flag with Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I'm like, wow, that's where we're gonna go with that.
Hey, Coach, you know what, man? You know, just listen to Coach, you know, Antonio Graham, you know, from Owasso. You know, he's kind of old school, and you know, and I told him, you know, you two have both set a barrel that's pretty cool. That you know, both you guys are very successful. You're in a 5A, him in a 6A, and you know, he kind of told me the story about his, you know, dad getting killed, mom was in the system, and he's preaching. You know, Blankenship kind of got him to come up here to coach at Tulsa. Then he did coach at Tulsa, and it's pretty cool. But you know, and I told him that, you know, how much respect you have for him, and he says the same for you, and that's cool that, you know, you two, I don't know if you know each other or not, but how much respect he has for you both have for each other, and just knowing what it takes to be the type of coach he is. And he's like, man, Tony, I'm old school, man. You know, I don't believe in no earrings, no hats. You got to wear the same socks. And he said he got up here. Blankenship was like, hey, nah. He said, man, Coach, that's how we used to be. You know, he said, man, Tony, I had gold teeth. And, you know, he said, he told me I couldn't coach with gold teeth. I had to take all that out because I'm from the South. He said, you know, sometimes we both know, sometimes you got to play the system to get what you want. You know, I mean, it's like me being in the professional job I am. I can't go around doing some of the things that I might do on the weekend that I can't do Monday through Friday, because it just, you know, you're in the business world. But just to see what you two are doing with the coaching and what you do with the kids, and I know a lot of people don't see what you guys do because sometimes it's undercover and you don't see it because it's on behind closed doors. But you know, I love what his story was, man. Like he said, he got biracial kids too, so he knows. And sometimes, like I tell him, I never try to put a color or anything because my kids are black and white. You know what I'm saying, or Mexican and black, or whatever they, what they're mixed with. But I just think that, hey, this world, we got to get away from that because, I mean, if you're a good coach, you can coach. And I even told him that I look at it sometimes doing this Keep It 100 show when you look at coaches' staffs that I told him, I even told you need to get more white guys on your staff. He said they're about 50-50. But I said, if you look at some of these high school staff, they ain't got one black guy on the staff. And I said, we've coached running backs and we played running back and we played receiver and DBs, and for somebody that plays that, they're going to know how to coach that. You feel me a little bit on that?
Yeah, and the thing is, first off, it's been a huge adjustment, and it's sad that it happened this way. But ever since Dion started coaching at Jackson State, we have seen a lot of institutions on the college level give people opportunities more than they had before. You even seen the high schools start to get people, even on the NFL. So it's been a blessing that Dion kind of opened that door, even though I don't agree with everything Dion does.
No.
I think Dion can have some, but I think Dion opened up a lot of doors. And the reason why he did, because it showed that, hey, black men, we can coach, man. And we don't only play football, we can coach football. So I feel like a lot of people are always seeing us as great athletes and people who can kind of open up doors for different teams. And just like the quarterback position, you got to remember, T, when we was growing up, we didn't see black quarterbacks.
No.
I don't remember growing up and seeing a black head coach. The only head coach I remember seeing was Dennis Green. I really don't, and maybe Tony Dungy. And they had yeah. So seeing him on a 6A level and being the number one team in Oklahoma, that's big. And I know his testimony and what he's went through. Now we got to get to where people can start to see that you can have offensive-minded black coaches. I think everybody just looks at black coaches as defensive coordinators.
Yes, sir.
We're starting to see that we got black coaches that have.
We lost him, folks. Hope he calls me right back. He sound like he's grocery shopping, and that's what you do on Sundays, folks. You get out when you're a coach and you got time. You ain't got to work today. You get out and you go buy your groceries. So hopefully, Coach Jones calls us back. But if he don't, we're gonna get going. You got some big games. The next week you got Owasso versus Ed Memorial. That's gonna be a big game. I think that could be for the district championship. Ed Memorial only has one loss, and that's to Deer Creek this year. And then you got, like I said, that's gonna be a big time game. Like I said, you got Owasso number one team coming to this side of the state to play. Against Ed Memorial. Then you got Deer Creek versus Jinx, another big time game. Both teams, Jinx has got a couple losses. They're fighting to keep a good spot in that district. Deer Creek is sitting undefeated right now, having got one loss. Had a tough game last week against Moore. And then you got Stillwater versus Choctaw. That'd be for the district championship. Stillwater last year got beat by Choctaw. So it kind of, it's kind of a revenge game for Choctaw. I think Choctaw's got them a couple of times, but I think Stillwater holds the edge. And you got Collinville over Claremore in 5A, so that'd be a tough one. Then you got MacArthur versus Lawton MacArthur versus Midwest City, so that should be a tough game. And then one of the games, like I said, looking at in 4A, you got Wagner versus Cushing. Then you got Hare. Hare, really needs to get some of these next few games. You got Hare versus Bethany. Then you got Weatherford versus Elgin. Another tough game in 4A. And Heritage Hall in 3A, you got Heritage Hall versus Plainview. And then the big 2A game, I think is going to be probably the game of the week or the game or whatever. You got Marlow versus Washington, should be for the district championship. So you got some good solid games, that's going on, this week in high school football. Like I said, you're getting down to nitty-gritty time. Teams got to start getting those wins. You can go undefeated in preseasons. That don't mean nothing. It all matters in district. So district is where it counts. This is one that takes you to the place you need to go. Coach Jones ain't called back yet. I give him about another 5 minutes. And if he don't call back, we have to catch him next time, But like I said, really good testimony for and Coach Antonio Graham for the Owasso Rams, getting the opportunity to play that Union, play that Pitt State. So you got a little bit of background from him, what he's done and, where he's been and just, what he's went through, being an older brother, taking care of his younger siblings, man. And, I got a chance to hear what this man has went through. And a lot of times, we look at him as just, he's just a very successful coach, but nobody knows his life story because I know it's not like something he puts on his Facebook page and everybody gets to read it. But, you get to hear it first here on Keep It 100. But just really, really proud of him and what he's doing, though. So with Owasso, like he said, you fall on a legend like Blankenship, man, it's tough because those guys can coach, all of them, All the brothers, man, cousins, whatever they are. I don't know the whole situation with the Blankenshits, but the name goes long when it comes to high school football. Then he coached in college at Tulsa, so he's done some big things here in Oklahoma. But not just Oklahoma, like he said, he went and coached in Memphis too. So pretty cool though. But like I said, we'll finish here in the next 5 minutes. But Coach, I just got to ask you, I've kind of talked about this earlier in the show. When you go back and watch it, I kind of complain a little bit, on the 5A high school football. I feel like it's the old BS, when they used to have the what was it when they had those coaches get there, when they had them in the room and they picked the BS. What was it called? The
BCS.
The BCS, and they had some old men that didn't know nothing about football sitting in the room and put together who's going to be number one, who's going to be number two, who's going to play in what bowl and all that. Finally, college football got away from that, and now they got the 12-team playoffs. But I feel like that's what's going on here with 5A football. If you look at these 5A scores, man, they're all blowouts. You got you and Carl Albert pretty much blowing everybody out. And then after that, it's kind of a toss-up. You can throw them up like you were at the circus, juggling, because who's gonna give Del City, who's gonna give Carl Albert that tough game? Then they got you guys playing in the semifinals, and I'm scratching my head over here as I sit in the hot box, and I'm like, why? Why would you put the two best teams on the same side to play in the semifinals? Why? I want somebody to answer that question. So who sets that up? Because you can't do that. If you saw what the success they had last year with Carl Albert and Del City playing over at UCO Stadium, one of the best stadiums in high school football, in college football right now. One of the hottest teams too, probably the best team in Oklahoma over OSU and OU. But why are we putting those two teams on the same side, Coach? I mean, I know you can't really answer, because at the end of the day, you still got to work for the school system and all that. But I can ask the question, because it makes no sense to me. Because if you're looking at, is Bishop McGinnis there, is Guthrie there, is everybody had you getting beat by Collinsville, and you bit 60 on them, 70 on their homecoming. Guthrie, Guthrie's going to play Carl Albert. Yes, when Carl Albert pulls in Guthrie, they're already down 21-0, because that's how it is when you play at the Rock. You get spotted at some points, So I'm lost, Coach.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of frustrated with it, because it seems like sometimes Del City gets put in position that we're trading districts every year, and some teams are staying in their same district. For whatever reason, McAllister and Coweta wanted to get opposite of us. So instead of us staying in the same, everybody knows the rule changed with the private school, so we had to redo the districts. If we would have stayed in our same district, then we would have had the same opportunity for us and Carl Albert to stay in the state championship. But when all that broke up and we were getting back to the districts, I wish we could have just stayed in our same Tulsa district that we were in, the east side of the state. But for whatever reason, McAllister and Durant wanted to get opposite of us. So they put us in District 4. So when they did that, the way the bracket matches up, it puts us first, Carl Albert, in the semifinals instead of the state championship. If we both win our district, which is, most people think we are, we still have to go out there and prove it and do it. But that's kind of what happened. McAllister and Coweta, for whatever reason, wanted to go opposite away from us, which it's a voting system. When you get in those rooms, they vote on it, and they already, they bring you the districts that they already had met about, the Oklahoma Football Coach Association. They meet about it, and then they come up with the districts, and then they bring all the teams together, and we vote on it. And obviously, everybody voted to keep the district the way they were with the Oklahoma Coach Association. So I would have liked to stay in the same district as Coweta. We had established a good for the last 2 years. Those have been some of the top games in 5A. We were starting to establish some rivalries there. Our fans were comfortable with the planning, traveling and all those things. So I would have liked to stay in the same district that we were in. And now I'm having to face a whole new opponents, new traveling plans, new opponents, like as far as Tulsa schools, public schools coming here and traveling here. They don't really bring a good gate, and people don't understand how that affects us. So that was troublesome, because I'm like, I would like to stay the same, and that way we can have a Mid-Del State Championship if it comes to that, because I think a lot of people frowned upon that because they felt like Mid-Del is like taking over. No, it's a lot of pride in Mid-Del. It's a lot of people who have graduated from Mid-Del that love to see that. That's great to see that if we do have the opportunity. And for us, if we are the two best teams and we don't get the opportunity to play in the state championship, that will be sad. But there's still a lot of football to be played. But if we are the two best teams, we should be meeting in the state championship. I do agree with you.
No. I mean, it's 100%. I mean, like you talk about the gate. I mean, you brought so much money last year. You had guys that came out. I ain't seen Benny Butler since he left OU. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seen some of these guys that was great. Carl Albert players, great. Dell City players. You know, I mean. You had Tapley come out, you had Paul Durham come out, guys that Tapley's he's addicted to the UCO Hall of Fame wrestling. You got Paul Durham's a big time player that played with you at Oklahoma State, and so you had a lot of guys come out that was early 80, 90 not Bombers, but Eagles, and then all the Titans. Yourself being on both sides, playing at Carl Albert and now coaching at Dell City. Your heart first at Dell City because that's where you coached at. That's where you coach at. But you always gonna have your Titan blood because that's who you played for too, and had a chance to win a couple state championship. But I just don't think High is right. I'm looking at this 4A, right? And 4A, to me, I'm gonna be real with you, Coach. I think 4A is the toughest district out there because when you start talking about Wagner and Elgin, and you Bethany and Tuttle and some of all these schools, man, Blanchard, the team that won state championship. Tuttle right now has some good guys moving, and I mean they're balling. I got a chance to watch them Friday night. They're balling out. I think that's it. Now that you got some good teams, you're gonna have some good playoff games. But when Dell City, who's Dell City gonna face first, second, third round? They're not gonna. The toughest game they're gonna have is in the semifinals when you beat Carl Albert. Why are you meeting that team in the semifinals? That's a state championship game. It's gonna be a good game. So why are we? So whoever wins that game is gonna go play somebody in the in the finals and beat them by 40 to 50. If you're looking at the scores week in and week out, you guys are scoring 60, 70 points on teams, and you're taking your first team out after the second quarter. So imagine if you kept your first team in the whole game, you might score 120 points. And then if you do that, everybody's gonna be mad at you because now you're running it up. So if I'm a young man and I'm trying to get my stats up and I'm trying to get to college to look at me, how can I get my stats up? You can't get your stats up because
you can't. It's impossible.
Because you can't get everybody the touches they need. But if they're playing the whole game, they might make a play in the fourth quarter that, oh my God, Venables at the game. It's just like the young man at Carl Albert. He kicked the 51-yard field goal. Shout out to Speedwack. Great job. But I'm just saying, if Venables don't stay the whole game and he don't see that, I think he did that in the second quarter. Venables is leaving. He's not going to stick around and watch nobody in the fourth quarter because they'll make the guys he's recruiting. And I'm not being mean, folks, because a lot of times it's the younger guys. I'm just keeping it 100. But, if it's a tight game, he's going to stick around that, hey, Miles or somebody, Blackfoot, might make a hell of a play in the fourth quarter to get the win, But if you're up 60-0, ain't nobody sticking around. I'm not going to stick around. Why? For what? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And you're not having okay prep and everybody come out to those games because there's nothing to cover. And I'm just being real, Coach. I'm keeping it 100 because, even your homecoming, it was great to have the homecoming. A lot of young men and women look good. But, man, nobody wants to stick around and see a 70-0 game. Man, you look at your score. I look on score. Next thing I know, it's 50-0 at halftime.
And I'm hoping it changed, T, because a couple years ago, 5A was kind of like where 4A's at. You had McAllister was good, Coweta was good, we were good, Carl Albert was good,
yes, sir.
Bishop McGinnis. And it seems like for whatever reason, Midwest City was good. It seems like it's kind of turning to where it's like, I don't know, it seems like us and Carl Albert are kind of separating ourselves a little bit, so I don't know what's going on. And I just said that to somebody yesterday. I said 4A is stacked. 4A is real competitive. Yep. I feel like even 6A1, even though teams are not winning like everybody thought, like Jinx or Union, I still think they're highly competitive because you can show up in the playoffs and you're going to see a Tulsa Union versus an Owasso or Edmond Memorial versus Jinx.
That's it.
5A is really this is the first time 5A has really been at this level to where it's been so many lopsided victories. And, I love winning, but I love those competitive games where we went to overtime versus, we get better. It's tough coaching when you're winning by that much because you have to keep kids humble and you have to keep kids competitive. And like you said, it was college recruiters at our game last Friday. And when you're up 28-0 in the first quarter, it just makes it tough for them to even respect the competition that your kids are going against to even recruit them. So I hope it changes somehow, some way to where we get it back competitive.
big time. But Coach, we got about 5 minutes left, but I just want to ask you about the Oklahoma State Cowboys. What's it going to take for them to get a turnaround? I know you said they're going to probably go over new QB, but can Ollie get it going? Is it time to put one of them young backs and say, hey, let's save the season? Because right now the front runner for the Big 12 is going to be K-State. I think BYU, but I don't know if OSU. They just said the other day OSU's fighting to get in the bowl game, which I think they're getting a bowl game. It ain't going to be no big time bowl game, but what does it take for the Cowboys to get it going again?
I think they got to go back to the foundation that they helped build what they have. I think Oklahoma State got caught up in Ollie Gordon, and he had a great year last year. And then they had a lot of offensive linemen returning, and they thought just because you have those guys returning, we can have a pound and ground type of team like Georgia or Alabama or even K-State. Oklahoma State's always been a team that's going to spread you out. They're going to throw the ball around, and then they're going to use their passing game to open up their running game. If they're going to get back to where they need to be, they got to throw the ball and take advantage of those three receivers. They got Stribling, Presley, and Owens, and then open up some things for Ollie Gordon as you start passing and keep people on their heels. Right now, they're running formations and schemes to where they're playing like Wisconsin. They're playing like Michigan. They're playing like Ohio State. That's not who Oklahoma State is. No. Oklahoma State built their name off Brandon Wheaton, Justin Blackman, Des Bryant. You can go on and on with all these receivers that we had all these years, and you still had good running backs at those times. Justice Hill, Kendall Hunter. You still had, Chuba Hubbard. You had great running backs, but those running backs got their opportunities because everybody had so much respect for the passing game. Then when you have a quarterback struggling like Bowman, and I've been Bowman's biggest supporter because I feel like he was the guy, but you got to be able to adjust throughout the season. You got to be able to say, hey, it's just not working for whatever reason. So, from the sources I've been talking to, Rangel's going to get an opportunity. I know everybody wants to see the freshman Flores, but he's hurt. He came out that he had some type of foot injury, so he won't be available this year. So they're going to go with Rangel. I hope that they give him an opportunity to throw the ball around the yard and just open up some things. And then defensively, it's a tough boat. So they brought in Nardo, and he was a three-man front specialist, and that's what Gundy was looking for at that time because he saw what Iowa State was doing. And they were the number one defense in the Big 12, and they weren't getting the big name recruits. So Gundy wanted to bring that style of coordinator in. So he ran his three-man front last year, and they made it to the Big 12 championship, even though that defense just wasn't great like Jim Knowles was, but they still made it to the Big 12 championship. Now he's been asked to run the four-man front, and he's just not comfortable. He's learning on the job, and that we all know you can't be learning on the job. That's tough when you're going against these offensive coordinators in the Big 12 or in college and period. So he's learning on the job. So I'm hoping that on defense, they kind of let him do what he's comfortable with and what he's used to calling for the rest of the year because we are fighting for a bowl streak. Then I got to be honest, the players got to bring more passion and more hungriness. I feel like it's been a lot of, just from the outside looking in, I feel like the NIL and kids are getting paid a lot of money, and I just don't see the hunger. I don't see them fighting like they did last year. I don't see that aggressiveness. I feel like a lot of guys are just okay with just losing almost because the same players that I saw last year aren't playing with the same intensity and hungriness that I see this year. I'm just being honest. I see it live in action. I'm like, hey, I'm almost caring more than I feel like I'm caring when they lose more than they are. They got to bring that passion back, and they got to start playing aggressive and playing hard. And I know NIL is important. I know the transfer is important, but we got to get back to just being part of a team and stepping out there with the jersey and protecting the pride of yourself and your family and what you did. We got to get back to that because right now football is kind of turning into a business too soon on the college level. We got to say that for the NFL. College still has to be a place where you get a free education because you play hard and you earned it. It can't be so much about money. Yeah, you're going to get the NIL, but it's still got to be about playing hard, playing aggressive, and protecting your university, protecting your family's name. Because right now I see that going on with a lot of colleges that kids ain't just playing as hard as they once were, and they just don't have the integrity for the game of football like they once had.
That's it. Well, Coach, man, like I said, that's great stuff. I want you to finish out this year strong. Like I said, I know you got 4 games left, 4 or 5 games left?
Yeah, we got 4 more left. Yes, sir.
And then the playoff starts, and that's right around the corner. But, like I said, Coach, you got to do everything. I know practice got to be a little bit more intense because, like I said, you got your ones going against your twos because, like I said, the ones is only getting half of a game right now because you're blowing everybody out. And I know you don't choose that or none of these other 5A teams, but, like I said, you'll have them guys ready for playoffs, man. Great job over the weekend, getting the homecoming. Homecoming's always those games that you're nervous about because kids all – you got the pep assembly. Everybody's looking clean and dressed up and all this, and so you got to prepare for that and to go get ready for the game. But you've done a great job, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Let me ask you this, D.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me
Yes,
ask you
sir.
this.
Yes, sir.
What's your thoughts on the running clock?
Um,
Because I love that you said kids got to get the reps, even though the score. People got to remember those kids need those reps for film,
Yeah.
and they also need the reps to get better and to get their body used to a 4-quarter battle because you'll see a lot of injuries,
This is
man,
what I
because
feel
kids
like,
ain't playing.
Coach. If you're gonna do a running clock, let's do it in the fourth quarter. Let's run it. Let's run it regular because people are paying. Like I said, you're paying $30, $40, $50 to get in the game. If your son's a starter, your son's a backup. Let's get the backup players in. I mean, one thing that I get to see. I'm a big Anderson Collier fan. Getting to see him get the reps. And I know you're getting your backups in too because, like I said, you got a young QB, so he needs every reps he gets because if you look at him from week 1 to week 9 to week 5 or 6, the kid is a different ball kid. I mean, when people don't realize that. High school football is just like college. It's each step is better because a kid is good in junior high don't mean he's going to be good in high school. Because he's good in high school means he's going to be good in college. And I said this earlier about X-Rob. I love to see that young man got in the game the other day, and he had a couple good catches and things like that. Put the kid in. What are we waiting for? Coaches, quit waiting. Play him. What are we waiting for? They got 4 or 5 years. Play them. If they're better than the guy that they came in and you recruited, obviously you recruited a kid. It's like, everybody asks me next
Fields.
year.
Rodney Fields.
Play him. He shows what he could do. Everybody asks me, next year, and I'm going to, before I go, I'm going to say this is my last thing. Everybody asks me, your daughter, she might start. I don't want my baby to start as a freshman. I don't want her to start. If she can help you, let's play. Because sometimes you can give a kid a starter too young, and then he crashes like Hawkins. I felt like Hawkins yesterday played like a freshman. He played scared. He played like I can't make a mistake. I got Arnold breathing down my back. If I throw a pick, they're gonna take me out. And I don't want that to happen to my baby. And now if she gets in the game and she helps produce and do good things give her more minutes. But if she's not, hey, I'm that parent. I'm keeping it 100. I understand. I was a coach. I might not have coached at the highest level as high school, but I coached. I've coached a lot of great athletes. So if the kid's not ready, don't put him in. But if the kid can help you win, let's go win. Why are we waiting for
Best players play.
Let the best players play. That's it.
The best players have to play. I've always been that way. Nigel Thomas started for me as a freshman.
That's it.
I would start a freshman in a heartbeat. If he's better than a senior, he got to play, man.
But like I said, the running clock, let's do in the fourth quarter. Let third quarter be the regular. Then start getting the backups in because nobody wants to run up the score because exactly you're gonna be on that. You're gonna be back on that shoot one day that hey somebody come running up on you and you're gonna be pissed off. Not saying you, but just any coach. So hey, do your thing. Sir. Keep doing your thing, Coach Jones, man. I appreciate you coming on. We'll catch up here in another few weeks. Like I said, we'll get ready for the playoffs, man. Go Eagles. Go take care of business. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks, T. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Well, folks, that's Coach Jones, man, the outstanding head coach at Dale City High School, man. It's always a pleasure. I don't get to do the Coach Jones show like I did weekly, but, the thing about it, though, we're always going to have that relationship. We're always going to get to talk high school football. If it's football, basketball, track, tennis, man, we talk this morning. He coming back from Dallas, man, from the game, man. He talked to me all the way home, and, because we have that good relationship, he's like a little brother to me, man. I want to see him be successful. And that's like both of these helmets I got on this table. Both of these guys are great guys. They was roommates, so it just sucks that these guys got playing the semifinals. I'm going to keep bitching and moaning about it because I just think it's a bad deal. And that's just me. I mean, I get to bitch and moan, so guess what? I'm a bitch and moan about it. But good luck to all the teams going out this week, man. I mean, as you get closer, 4 games left, some of you guys got to win these ball games to get in the playoffs. If not, you're going to get left out. And nobody wants to get left out their senior year. You want to get a chance to be that underdog that gets in and go knock off some people off because, hey, once the playoffs start, it's a whole different season. But like folks, subscribe to Keep It 100. Let's keep building this brand along with above, between the lines, and subscribe to that. Catch me and Coach V. We shoot on Wednesday night and it comes up on Thursday morning. So subscribe to Between the Lines. Thank you to all the people that helped me get this thing going. Woo Wings, my man Eric Sanford with Chaos. My man Spiffy Can. All these guys that, give me a chance to bring their ads on my show. Like I said, subscribe, folks. Give us a like. Tell me what you do like, what you don't like. Catch the show, man. I really believe when you listen to Coach Antonio Graham, what he had to say, man, you're going to be really tear up because it's a sad situation. Man, you look at the guy, you think he's just successful. No, he went through hell and back, and now he's found a way to preach his testimony to the other students, athletes, females, males, parents, and all that. Because, like I said, yeah, he's under the Blankenship umbrella, but you know what? He has to go do his own thing too. So we'll catch you next time on Keep It 100 Oklahoma High School Sports. We'll see ya.